Hello, brave, beautiful warrior soul friends. I have learned so much in the past few years. I never understood why I was the way that I was. I never understood why I did the things I did. I never understood why I was having the intense emotional experiences that I was having. And I didn't understand how all the dots connected throughout my life story pieces. And now I've gone back and pieced together my entire life story in the past 20 years, and I understand exactly why I am the way I am. I understand exactly why I feel the way I feel on a moment-to-moment basis, on a day-to-day basis. Looking back through my life, I can piece together emotional reactions throughout the past 15 years and know exactly what was happening within my own neurobiology to cause that. I now understand the ways that conscious awareness and subconscious neuroprocesses communicate very, very differently, and why it's so hard to change our habits and why we have the experiences that we have and the struggles that we have. Our conscious awareness communicates through direct narrative and this very logical thought and the things that we normally think of when we're talking about consciousness and thought and who we are. Our subconscious, though, is the majority of our consciousness, and it affects us in every moment of every day, whether we realize it or not. And our subconscious only ever learns through repetition. And so I can sit there and consciously logic my way through things all the time, but unless I'm showing up repeatedly with this like same consistent thought processes, I'm never going to change the way that my subconscious is interacting with the world. Oh yeah, I'll see you at Silverstream. Not a problem. Enjoy your movie. Hello, brave, beautiful warrior soul friends. Just been reflecting on all we've learned and all of the power that we have reclaimed. I never had the capacity to influence my life experience. I was just victim to it. And now I get to create my life as it unfolds because I understand the ways that my own energy interacts with the world. And I understand how I have power over certain aspects of it and not others. I used to invest all my energy in places I didn't have power, and I thought I was supposed to. And now that I've adjusted that, my whole life is changing. The manner in which it unfolds is changing. And so I used to try to just force my brain to be different. But the thing is, we can show up with these big things all we want, but it's the small, consistent messages that actually matter. And so showing up for 5 minutes every day for a year, it's going to have a greater impact than showing up for an hour a week throughout the year. Even if the time is greater, the impact is smaller. And so we can sit there and tell ourselves things all we want, but our subconscious learns through repetition. And so when we hear a repeated thought, when we think a thought again and again and again, and it doesn't matter if it's an automatic thought or one that we're intentionally creating, if a thought is happening again and again and again, it's just like making this neural pathway deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and stronger and stronger and stronger. And so when we have things like chronic anxiety or trauma or chronic depression, these really negative, dark, low vibrational frequencies are going through our thoughts again and again and again and again, and making this neural pathway stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, until all that our consciousness is all of these anxiety-driven, fear-based, trauma-related, negative, limiting belief, fear-based neural pathways, and we've lost ourselves completely. We have no idea who we are because who we are is so caught up in everything that we're afraid of being, everything we're afraid of not being, everything we're afraid of being too much of, we're afraid of this and that and the other things, and we don't even realize how afraid we are until it gets triggered. And our subconscious is in full swing, and our conscious awareness loses the ability to manage the present situation. And so the healing journey is not about being someone different than I am. It's not about doing something differently. It's not about changing the life experience. It's completely about changing my response to what's already happening. I thought the anxiety was the problem. But it turns out my response to the anxiety was the problem. I thought my depression was the problem, but it turned out my response to the depression was the problem. It turns out my perspective on depression was the problem. And so by understanding the root problem, I can reclaim my power, because I'm no longer just focusing on getting somewhere different and changing how things are and moving to this perfect place that I have in mind. It's letting go of what we think life is supposed to look like and accepting it for what it is, and showing up for ourselves unconditionally in each moment and allowing anything to be okay, because if it's happening, it's okay. If it's unfolding as it is, it means it's allowed. If we're experiencing it, it's allowed. And the more we can just allow it to be okay and allow who we already are to be okay, the more we can let go of those neural pathways no longer serving us and have the capacity to build new ones. And that's where affirmations and meditations and stuff can be very powerful, because we can start to feed ourselves the messages we want to believe. And if we do it consistently enough, we're eventually going to believe it. There's a lot more hope with becoming the people we want to be than we think there is, because we're focused on where we are, and we are so caught up in this life experience that we don't believe things could change, and so we don't pursue that change with our intention. But change is always possible, and possible is just a word, and we can rewire our brains if we freaking choose to. And we live in a beautiful time now where even neurobiology is allowing us to know these things for a fact. We're no longer just philosophizing about them. We're proving the science about how we can change the automatic processes our brain comes up with. It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I love you guys. I'm so proud of you for reclaiming your power. Keep feeding your brain the messages you want it to believe every single day. Your brain is much more malleable than you know.